Hello everyone and welcome to this video on the Python programming language and machine learning. So in this video I'm going to show you all how to create your very own email spam detection program using Python. Now email spam is also called junk email and it is unsolicited messages sent in bulk by email. And the name actually comes from the spam lunch meat, which I thought was pretty interesting. So right now I'm on Google's website called colab.research.google.com because it makes it really easy to get started writing code in Python. So you don't have to install Python onto your computer. You can just go to this website and log in using your Google account and start writing your Python code. So let's go ahead and start writing our email spam detection program. So the first thing that I'm going to do is click on File, and I'm going to go down and click on New Python 3 Notebook, and a new tab is going to open up for us in a new cell. All right, and in this new cell, we're going to start writing our code. But before I write any logic, I like to put in comments what the code is going to do. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to put description here, and I'm going to write this program detects if an email is spam, which will be represented by the number 1, or not spam. So I just put or not, which will be represented by the number 0. So let's go ahead and create a new cell by clicking the code button here. And I want to load some of the libraries that we're going to be using throughout the program. So here I just put import libraries. All right, and I'm going to import NumPy as NP. Then I'm going to import pandas as PD, and I'm going to import NLTK, which is the natural language toolkit that we're going to be using. So this is like the main package that we really need to make our programming a little bit easier or simpler. So from nltk.corpus, I'm going to import something called stop words, and then last but not least, we're going to import string. And now I just need to run this by clicking this button here to make sure I don't have any spelling mistakes and that we import these libraries properly. All right, so it looks like everything's good. I got no error messages. So next thing I'm going to do is create a new cell, and I'm going to load the data. So here in comments, I'll put load the data. And to do that, since we're on Google's website, I need to use Google's library. So from google.colab, I'm going to import files. And then I'm going to create a variable called uploaded and set it equal to files.upload method. And this will allow us to upload the file that will contain the data set that we will be using throughout this video. So let's go ahead and run this. All right, and then click choose files. And I'm going to load in emails.csv. So this will be a file that contains the emails and has a label for each email showing whether or not that email message is spam or not. All right, so let's give it some time to load. All right, and it's done loading, so that was fairly quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to create another cell, and here I'm going to read the CSV file. So to do that, I'm going to create a variable called df, which will be short for data frame, and I'm going to set it equal to our pandas.read_CSV method. And I need to tell this method what file I want it to read. So I want it to read the emails.csv file that we just now loaded. And then I want to print the first 5 rows of data. So to do that, I just type df.head and then I input the number 5 for the number of rows that I want it to print. And let's run this cell. Okay, and now we can see the first 5 rows of our data set. So we have a column called text and a column called spam. And again, the column spam will only contain values 1 and 0, and text will be the email message that we're looking at. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new cell here, and let's get the number of rows and columns in our data set by getting the shape. So here I will put print the shape, which means get the number of rows and columns. Okay, so to do that, just type df.shape and then run the cell. And this shows that our data set has 5,728 rows of data and 2 columns. So let's go ahead and create another cell. And let's say maybe you have a different data set than what we see here. So maybe you can't see all the rows. So what I will do here is show you how to get the column names of the data set. So just type df.columns, and this will allow us to get all of the column names. So we can see that the column names that we have are text and spam. All right, so let's go ahead and create a new cell, and let's check um, let's check for duplicates. So we're going to check for duplicates, and then we're going to remove them. So to do that, just type df.drop_duplicates, and then within this method, just type in place equals true, and run this cell, and this will drop all the duplicates for us. So let's actually see if there are any rows that have been dropped now. So we will show the new shape, which is the new number of rows and columns in our data set. That's if we had any duplicate values. So just type df.shape again, run this, and now we see that we have 5,695 rows of data instead of 5,728 rows, and we still have 2 columns. Okay, so it looks like we dropped some rows there. Let's go ahead and create a new cell, and I want to see if we have any missing data. So we're going to show the number of missing data for each column. All right, and what do I mean by missing data? I mean data that looks like NaN, capital NaN, or capital N, lowercase a, capital N, or Na. So that would be missing data. So to do this, just type df.isNull and then .sum, and let's run this. This should show us if we have any missing data on any of the columns. All right, so for our columns text, we have 0 missing data, and for our column span, we have 0 missing data as well. So we don't have any missing data. That's really good. That makes it a lot easier for us to work with this data set. All right, so we don't have to manipulate the data or remove rows or anything like that. So let's create a new cell. And the next thing that we need to do is download stop words. So here we will download the stop words package. So to do that, just type nltk dot download, and then we need to tell it what to download. So we want it to download stop words, and let's run this. All right, so it looks like stop words was downloaded for us, and that's because we're going to use stop words within the function that we're going to create. So let's go ahead and create that function now. This function will be used to process the text. So let's give it a name. I just say process_text, and it's going to take in some text, which will be the email message. And what do I want to do within this function or method? Well, I want to remove, let's see here, let's put number one, remove the punctuation from the text or message. 2, I want to remove stop words from the text. And I suppose I should explain what stop words are. So stop words in natural language processing are useless words or data. And let's see, number 3, I want to return a list of clean text words. All right, so let's start with number 1. I'm going to create a variable called no_punct, which will be short for no punctuation, and I'm going to return the character. So char will be short for character. I will return char for char in text. Okay, but this right here would just return, the character. So we need to filter out some of these characters, right? So if the character is not in string dot punctuations, or punctuation. There's no S. All right, and then no punc is going to equal the empty string dot join no punc. All right, so that right there should remove punctuations from our text and store that new text in no punc. So the text without any punctuations is now in no punc. Okay, so number 2, we want to remove stop words. So I'm going to create a variable called clean underscore words, and I'm going to set it equal to word. Let me see here. Number 2. Okay, clean underscore words. There we go. I don't want it to be in the comments. So we're going to return word for word in no punc. And I'm going to split it so that we get back tokens. So I'll show you what I mean by that. We're basically going to be separating each of the words by a comma. All right. So I want to return the word for word in no punc if that word, and I need this word to be lowercase, so we're going to say word dot lower is not in stop words. Okay, and I believe I need to tell it that the stop words will be English. Okay, so that looks good. All right, so let's go down and let's do number 3, where we return clean underscore words. All right, so now let me run this. Hopefully I didn't misspell anything. And we're going to go ahead and basically we're going to create a new cell now. So let me go ahead and create that new cell. And I want to show you all, the tokenization now. So what I mean by tokenization, that's exactly what we did when we did the no punc dot split. That's where I'm going to be separating the words by commas. All right, so to show the tokenization, I mean show a list of tokens, and that's also called, I believe it's called lemmas as well. All right, so here I put also called lemmas. I could be wrong about that. Okay, so anyways, just type df and then text, right? Because this will be the text column. This is our messages, our email messages, and I only want to show you all the first 5 rows of data. So I'm just going to put dot head, and we could put in 5 here, or we could leave it blank. If we leave it blank, then that means that by default we're going to just print 5 rows of data. So dot apply, and now we're going to apply the function that we just now created, which was called process underscore text. And let me go ahead and run this. All right, so it looks like I got an error message. So it looks like the issue is in clean words. So let's go back up here. So not in stop words dot words. So let's run this. I think that's the issue. Let's come back down here, run this. Okay, now everything looks good. And now you can see that the message is broken up into tokens. So each word is separated by a comma. And let's create a new cell. And in this cell, I think what I'm going to do is show you all an example of what we're going to be doing here, just to kind of explain what's going on. So you can actually skip this part if you don't really want to know an explanation of how we're going to process this text to be able to put it into a model to then make predictions to detect whether or not that email is spam. But I will do that in this cell, so we can get rid of this cell if you don't care about it, because it's going to be on my GitHub, and I'm still going to have this cell available for you all, but it won't be the meat of the program. So again, you can get rid of this cell and the program will still work. I'm just showing this for this video to try to explain what's going on, try to explain the process to prepare the data for training on the classifier. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to create a variable called message1, and I'm going to set it, actually I like the number 4, so we're going to say message4. So I'm going to set message4 equal to hello. And so you can imagine that this message is our email message, or at least one of them is one of these rows. So I just put hello world, and then hello and hello, maybe world again, and then play. And I will create another variable called message5, and I will set it equal to test, 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 1, and hello. Okay, and maybe we'll print one of these messages. So I'll print message4, and maybe print a new line. And now I want to convert the text to a matrix of token counts. So to do that, I'm going to use a library from sklearn, which is a machine learning library. I'm going to use feature underscore extraction from sklearn.feature extraction .text. I'm going to import something called count vectorizer. Okay, so I'm going to create a variable called BOW4, and BOW is short for bag of words. And I'm going to set it equal to count vectorizer dot fit underscore transform method. And in here, I need to tell it the email messages that we want to transform. So it's going to be a list of lists. So one will be message4 and the other will be message5. Okay, and I'm going to give it an analyzer. So we've already created a function for this. It's called process underscore text. And then I want to print BOW4, and that's probably good enough. So let's go ahead and run this. All right, so this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be converting the text to a matrix of tokens. And so I just kind of want to explain exactly what's going on here. So you can see that we have message 4, and it has hello world, hello world, and play. So the first message, which is message 4, will be represented by this number 0 here. All right, and this tells us that we have 3 unique words in that message. Okay, so 3 of the words are the same. So that's the hello, right? There's 1, 2, 3 hellos. Then we have 2 words that are the same. So that's world and world. And then we have 1 word that's the same, and that's just play. And then this 1 here represents the second message, and it tells us that we have 3 unique words in it as well. So we have test, which would be 1 unique word in this message. We have 1, and we have hello. So those are our 3 words that are unique within that message. And it tells us that there is 1 word that appears 4 times. There's another word that appears only once, and another word that appears only once. So a total of 6 words in this message. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and something else I want to do. Let's print a new line, and let's print bow4 dot shape. And so let's run this. Okay, and now we get the shape of the data, and it tells us that we have 2 rows. So that's message 4 and message 5, and we have 5 columns now. So where do we get the 5 columns from? That's from each of the unique words in this complete data set. So let's count all the unique words. So we have hello, so that's 1. World, 2. We've already seen hello, so we don't count those. We've already seen world, we don't count that. We see play for the first time, so that's 3. We see test for the first time, that's 4. We've already seen test, so we skip past all those test words. Then we get 1, that's 5, because we haven't seen 1 yet, and then we get hello again, which we've already seen. So we have 5 unique words in our data set. So that's why we have 2 rows and 5 columns. All right. And so that's exactly what we're going to be doing in the rest of this video. Is we're basically going to be transforming our data into these token counts. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new cell. I just want to kind of explain that. So I hope it was good for you all. And now we're going to convert a collection of text to a matrix of tokens. So although it's not necessary for me to load this library again, I'm just going to copy it and paste it just to keep it consistent so that you can get rid of this cell if you don't want to have it there, because it's not going to help us with our program. As long as I put back the library in this cell here, you'll be able to run the code no problem. So I'm going to create a variable. It's going to be called messages underscore BOW, which will be messages bag of words. And I'm going to set it equal to count vectorizer, basically the same thing that we did above, and set the analyzer to be the process underscore text function dot fit underscore transform. And this time we're going to tell it to transform all of the text in our data set. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and run that. Hopefully there's no errors. Okay, let's give it some time here because there's a lot of text. But it should be done relatively quickly. Okay, look like it's done. Now let's go ahead and create a new cell. And in this cell, we want to split the data into 80% training and 20% testing. Okay, so I'm going to use another library. So we're going to use sklearn.model underscore selection. And I'm going to import train underscore test underscore split. And we're going to create a few variables. We're going to create x underscore train, which will be our feature training data set. And then we will also have x underscore test, which will be our feature testing set. And then we'll have y underscore train, which will be our target training set, and y underscore test, which will be our target testing set. Okay, let me make sure that's all right. Okay, that looks good. All right, we're going to set it equal to train underscore test underscore split. And now we need to tell it what data to split on and how to split. So we're going to split on messages underscore BOW, bag of words, and on DF spam. So we want the spam column from our data set and then the messages bag of words that we just created above. And then we're going to tell it the test size. So we want it to be 20% testing. So we just type 0.20. And I want the random state to equal 0. So we're going to randomize some of the data. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. Hopefully there's no errors. That looks good. We're going to create a new cell and let's take a look at the shape of the data. So we're going to get the shape of messages underscore BOW. And to do that, just type messages underscore BOW dot shape. So we can see the number of rows and columns in our data set. So we have 5,695 rows of data and now 37,229 columns in our data set. So that's a lot of columns. So anyways, we're going to create a new cell. And now we're going to create and train the naive Bayes classifier. So this is the model that we're going to be using to make our prediction. And we're going to use the multinomial naive Bayes classifier, which is suitable for classification with discrete features. So something like the word counts for a text, which is exactly what we have here. So from sklearn.naive underscore Bayes, I'm going to import multinomial NB. multinomial naive Bayes. And I'm going to create a variable called classifier and set it equal to multinomial NB. And then I want to also train it. So we're going to use the fit method to train it. So fit's just another name for train. And we're going to use the training data set. So that's X train and Y train. Okay, so let's run this. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. Okay, that was really quick. Let's create a new cell and let's print the predictions. So to do that, I just type print and then classifier dot predict, and it's going to predict the target. It's going to predict the target set, the target Y train set. We're going to see if it matches up. So that's what it's trying to predict right now. So X underscore train, and let me run this here. All right, so this is the predictions. We can't see all of the data apparently. We can see the first three rows, or the first three rows and the last 3 rows. So let's also print the actual values. So now we're going to print the actual target values. So just type print and then Y underscore train dot values, because I want it to kind of look the same. If I were to just put Y underscore train, it would be much longer. Anyways, I'll show you all. So let's run this. So now it's it looks like the values are matching up pretty well, but we don't know the values in the middle, right? We can't see that. And let me actually show you what I mean by adding that dot values here. The reason why I added it is because if I didn't, if we run this cell, then it would be printed out this way, that Y train. So that's why I have that dot values here. And that's values with the S. Okay. So I can't really see all of the values in our data set. So let's just see how well our model did by evaluating the model. So we're going to use some other methods that can help us to determine how good this model is. So here I will type evaluate the model on the training data set. So to do that, we're just going to use a library. So we're going to use from sklearn.metrics. We're going to import classification underscore report. We're going to do the confusion matrix. Yeah, confusion underscore matrix. I think that's right. And then we're also going to use accuracy underscore score. Okay, so I'm going to create a variable called pred, which will be short for prediction. I'm going to set it equal to our classifier dot predict variable, where we're going to predict on the training data set. And let's see here, we will print the classification report. So that's classification underscore report, and I need to tell it the target variable, the actual values, and the predicted value. So that's pred. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and run this just to make sure I don't have any mistakes. All right, that looks good. So we can see things like the precision, we can see the recall, and we can see the accuracy all in this report here. So it's pretty cool. I'm going to print let's print a new line here. And now let's print the confusion matrix. So here I put confusion matrix. And we'll go down to the next line. So I do \n, or I type \n to go to the next line. And we're going to use that confusion underscore matrix method and input Y underscore train and pred. Let's run this. So now we get a confusion matrix here of the data. All right, and of course, the precision and recall can all be calculated using the confusion matrix. All right, so I think that's pretty cool. And let's print a new line, and then we will print the accuracy. So here I just type accuracy, and we'll use the accuracy underscore score method and input y underscore train and pred and run that. Okay, and now we can see that the model is 99.714% accurate, which is really, really good. So it almost got all of the messages correct. You know, it almost accurately predicted them or detected them to be spam or not spam. So that's pretty cool. All right. But what we really want to do is we want to see how well the model does on the test data. So let's do that now. Let's create a new cell, and we can really just copy and paste a little bit here. So I'm going to copy this here by highlighting it and clicking on Control C to copy it, and then Control V to paste it. And instead of X train, it's going to be X test, and instead of Y train, it's going to be Y test. Okay, so let's run this. All right, and it looks pretty good too. But again, we can't see those values in between. So we will use the metrics to evaluate the model. So we can do the same thing really. Come up here, copy it, and then paste it here. Okay, but instead of putting in X train, we put in X test, and instead of Y train, Y test, and then same for the rest of these parameters. So I'm just going to copy it and paste that here. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. And now we can see how well our model does on the testing data set. And so it's not as accurate as it was on the training data, but still it got 99.209% accuracy on the data, which is still very, very good. It can only go up to one. One would be 100%. So that's really good. And I'm proud of this model. So that is basically it. I hope you guys learned some new things about processing data, processing text, and learning how to detect spam email. I hope this video was helpful to you all. And please leave any questions you have in the comment section and hit that like button. That really helps out. And if you found this video helpful, please share it. Maybe others will find it helpful as well. I also have a Patreon account, so if you feel like donating, I'm not going to stop you. It is much appreciated. And as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.